Hi, I'm Paterson, and I'd like to introduce you to the OW2 Quick App Initiative. So we saw in the previous presentations how quick apps are really this amazing dynamic. They create lots of opportunities for businesses and some great new experiences for users. And in fact, users are loving quick apps when they get to use them. Now, if we think about the mobile app landscape more generally, we actually think we're coming to a inflection point. And this inflection point that's being driven by various pressures. These pressures are things like technology trends, new trends in technology, augmented reality, displays in cars, connected objects, and all these devices which are now connected, needing their own apps. And certain frustrations from the market, such as user fatigue or developer frustrations and publisher frustrations with the app process these days. And regulators equally are looking in on this, how to ensure that app marketplaces are open and are as dynamic as possible. So we really think there's an opportunity here. And to realize this opportunity, we think of an emerging ecosystem. Now, when I think of an ecosystem, especially one that's kind of growing and emerging like this, I really like to think of it like an engine. So I'm thinking of, the technology side. It's a big cog, right? It's driving the ecosystem. But actually, the technology by itself, it doesn't do much. So it has to be in partnership with business. And to make sure it's working across all the parties of the ecosystem in a kind of a symbiotic way, we also have to think about standards and how we can ensure that the technology can get to different devices and different manufacturers and suppliers. So these are really important cogs in our ecosystem engine. But what's also and equally important is the oil that these cogs are immersed in. And that oil, I think, increasingly is open source. So you guys are going to love that, of course. Now, you guys are also the kingmakers. You're the developers, right? And you are the spark that makes the engine turn. Without you, nothing happens. And of course, the kingmakers, the spark plugs, need their oxygen, and the oxygen is coming from the community. So the community is creating this oxygen, feeding it in, creating the spark, and turning this engine. Fantastic. Now, the OW2 Quick App Initiative is really community focused. So we really want to double down on that whole notion of community, bringing the oxygen in and creating that spark along with the developers. It has 4 ambitions: to raise awareness with developers and businesses and users, to build a commons of knowledge, not just on how to create quick apps from a technical standpoint, but also, of course, how to use quick apps in a business perspective, things like use cases and proof of concepts. And we also want to think about, well, how can we help developers with this? What can we do from the tooling side of things? And the final ambition is really to say, well, since we know that standards are an important part of creating a equitable ecosystem that runs across devices and from different vendors, how can we feed up into that standardization process? How can we support it? And how can we also work with the standards organizations on this? So it's really a broad base of different ambitions here, but all interacting to create this kind of organic growth. Now, the Quick App Initiative is open by design. There's no pay to play. Anyone can join. You just have to register, and registering is easy. You say, yes, I agree to the charter, and that's it, you've registered. So the charter was created by the different participants when the initiative launched. It's a democratic charter. We're consensus driven, transparent. We publish minutes of meetings, things like that. And the tasks, the actions of the initiative are run through task forces, which are led by different participants, using OW2 tools, delivering shareable outputs, things like OSI or Creative Commons outputs. So it's really an open by design initiative. Now, this conference today actually marks the 1-year anniversary of the Quick App Initiative. Way! We launched last year in OW2 Con. Since then, really an interesting journey, an amazing journey, I would say. Starting to foster and put in place all the building blocks of this amazing community. So we've got some great participants that have joined us at the launch and joined us as we went through the year. We've done some interesting editorials. We've opened the developer portal with some really rich documentation there for developers. And thank you again to Systematic and the Hub Open Source for the recognition that they gave to us around this initiative. So, I mean, really a fantastic first year. Very, very, very exciting. But if you think first year was exciting, but our second year is even more exciting, right? So we're going to double down on the community stuff because, hey, community is everything, right? But what really excites me the most is this possibility to use the Talento platform to create educational challenges. Now, I think that's super exciting because, you know, students, well, of course they're the future, but students come up with so many wild and wacky ideas. You know, it's out of the box thinking, no constraints on, you know, what they can think about. A source of inspiration for everyone, right? So we're very lucky because Huawei has very kindly offered to create a relationship with Talento and then to offer or to open that relationship to the participants of the initiative so that they can also issue challenges through the initiative into Talento. So that's very exciting, right? And we'll obviously take those initiatives and the other ideas and we'll work with businesses to launch proof of concepts and pilots and all of this kind of stuff. And we have some great pilot apps already kind of on the drawing boards. And we're also, I'm really happy to be saying, we're also in some deep discussion with the W3C about organizing some events. So, you know, it's going to be a really cool year. And I think we're going to see a lot of movement. Now, if this interests you as much as it interests me, please come and read more about it on the portal. Feel free to email us and to ask questions, and of course follow us on social media. So that's the OW2 Quick App Initiative. I think it's a fantastic dynamic. It's going to create this new ecosystem in Europe and create opportunities for everyone. Come join, come see what all the fun is about. Now, thank you for your time today. Have a great conference.